Hello again, everybody, and welcome to the Mike Francesa podcast on a Sunday night, part of the Bet Rivers Network, as we put the finishing touches on a very busy sports weekend and, of course, on round one of the Subway Series. They will reconvene over the 4th of July at Citi Field. Yankees get minor bragging rights with their win tonight. And again, it was a big success. The Soto thing, all right, had a little life of its own. He didn't live up to expectations by any stretch. I'll get to him in a minute. The crowds were enormous. The energy was terrific. So I think it was a tremendous success from that standpoint. And I don't think we learned a whole lot about either team, to be honest with you. A couple things though. Winners. Well, clearly for the Yankees, Bellinger was the big winner. 7 for 11 for the weekend, 2 home runs, 6 RBIs. You know, it's funny. You watch that game, and then they say, "Oh, Bellinger's grand slammer wins the game." Bellinger's grand slammer didn't win the game. The game was over before Bellinger hit a grand slammer. I mean, yeah, the Mets weren't coming back in the ninth inning anyway. I mean, so they're up 2 runs. I understand it makes it a lopsided game, but the game wasn't won by the grand slammer. But he did have a lot of big hits. He had 6 RBIs tonight, so tremendous performance from him, and he could have used that. He As you know, and you've heard all year how much he wants to be a Yankee and everything else. He hasn't had the greatest start, so that was good for him. I thought Williams had a good weekend because the Yankees put him in 2 spots, not the highest intensity spots, but they put him in 2 spots. The second one was notable, and he threw the ball well. So that was good. And some people think he had to psychologically get Alonso out. I don't really know if that's true or not. Bottom line is you can't recreate what happened at the end of last year in the season. It's not the same. It's just not the same. He'll get back and maybe see him again sometime in the postseason. That's a different story. Let's get to Soto. He was the big loser this weekend. He continues to be plagued by what is ailing him. He has now had 166 at bats on this season. He hasn't had 20 at bats. He's had 166 at bats. That is a third of the season for him. Now, last year with the running scoring position, he was hitting 345. He hit 345, and we all know how clutch he was. This year, he's hitting 132. Late and close, which is what I look at more than runners in scoring position. Late and close, he's 4 for 18 with 1 RBI. Brutal. Absolutely brutal. See, I don't care if you pop out with second and third and the game's 9-1. I don't care about that. Late and close is what you look at, and he has not done the job all year. He has not gotten any big hits. As a matter of fact, the Mets haven't gotten a tremendous amount of big hits. And unlike last year, their lineup hasn't had that flow and had that depth that it had last year. It really hasn't. Now, it doesn't mean it won't, but it hasn't. The other thing plaguing the Mets, and it has to be at least acknowledged, is how poor their infield defense has been. You can't give teams like the Yankees extra outs. If you do, they're going to score. You can't give them walks. You knew as soon as he walked Dominguez, he was going to come around. I mean, that's all there is to it. You cannot walk guys late in close games. And a first inning error killed him. The Alonso error killed him. That was just a bad play by Pete. Hey, listen, Pete usually plays a good first base. That was a bad play. The Mets defense, Lindor, Vientos, overall getting outs on the infield has been a big problem for the Mets this year. Their pitching's been very good. Alonso got off to a great start. Okay. Lindor will always get big hits, but Soto hasn't done his job, and the infield defense has been poor. That's all you're taking. These are 2 good teams. These are 2 playoff teams. These are 2 90-win teams. Okay? The Mets are going to have a hard time getting to the playoffs because the division and the league are much harder than the Yankees face. But other than that, you don't read too much into this. I thought Peterson did a good job tonight. I thought Fried. It's funny with Fried tonight is that he wasn't getting. He got some swings and misses, but there were times where I thought he made really good pitches and didn't get swings and misses. And you could tell he was a little frustrated by the foul balls because they really were fouling off a lot of pitches. But he still didn't get hit hard and did a good job. That's all there is to it. Is there anything enormously significant out of this? Soto. That's the only thing. And let's be honest, Soto does not look or resemble in any way the guy who was a Yankee last year. Not even in any way. I've seen Soto throughout his career. Last year, I got to see him a lot. And he was as impressive a player in the batter's box as I had seen in a very long time. He isn't a shadow of himself. He's getting beat on heat. He's throwing his shoulder open. He's guessing. He's defensive. I mean, everything looks terrible. It really does. Will he come out of it and have a great year? I don't think he's going to have last year. Also, he doesn't have a Judge behind him, but I think he'll probably do his job. But again, it's going to come down to him getting big hits in big spots more than it's going to be any certain number. And his RBI numbers are really meager, really meager. But again, let's see what these teams do when they reconvene in July. They'll have put another 6 good weeks of baseball under their belts, and we'll see what they look like. Nothing really was that big a deal this weekend, although Soto did flop. He flopped. He got some walks, but he flopped. He actually made a really good catch tonight on a ball that, a lot of times eats him up. He made a good catch. If you noticed, he didn't flip the ball to the fans either. He flipped it into the bullpen. That was extremely conscious, I'm sure, because they were probably riding him pretty good out there. He probably had rabbit ears and was hearing a lot of stuff that he didn't like. Hey, it's part of the deal. He can go home and count his money. We know that. All right, now, a couple other things. The NBA Final Four is set. Oklahoma City, as I told you, I did not think Denver had a prayer. And they went into the game today with Porter with a bad shoulder, with a couple of the guys nicked up, and with guys playing like Aaron Gordon who probably shouldn't have been in the lineup tonight. And they got overwhelmed. Not surprised. I do not think Minnesota beats let me say this. Oklahoma City is a overwhelming favorite. They're a 3.5 to 1 favorite. They're a 360 to 1 favorite to win the series. Minnesota has a propensity for turning the ball over. They turn the ball over, they're going to get killed because Oklahoma City is going to turn those into layups and dunks. If they are efficient and make this a half-court game, at least a decent amount of time, Oklahoma City struggles with their offense in the half court. They are not a great offensive team. They are very long. They are very young. They are athletic. They're youthful. And they can turn misses and turnovers into layups and dunks and threes when they're on. I think Oklahoma City will win. I do. So I think they will. I know the Knicks fans would love to play Minnesota, and they'd love to get Oklahoma City wiped out. I don't think Oklahoma City is going to get wiped out. I think they'll win. So Knicks are a 150, so 7.5 to 5, 150 favorite, and Oklahoma City is a 360 favorite, which means they're a 3.5 to 1 favorite, which is significant in a conference final. Two other things. And we will we'll do a full bore preview of the Knicks and Pacers on Tuesday. Now, two things. Journalism. I'm not patting myself on the back for giving you journalism, okay? I'll try to hit the third Triple Crown horse, which will be tougher because it'll be a more competitive race. I've hit the first two. As I told you, I tried to beat journalism for a day. I made one miscue, which I didn't kick myself for because I thought the field was very, very ordinary. I really think that there probably wasn't another Grade 1 horse in the race other than journalism, who's a really good horse. I tried to like Oscar. I thought he was too slow. He wound up inheriting a lead. But the payoff even wasn't great there. So you weren't, like I told you weren't going to get rich on that race. The best bet in that race was just bet journalism to win. Now he had all kinds of trouble, and he made a valiant move. Now this was not a Fleet Alex going to his knees and coming back and winning, which was one of the most amazing things I ever saw a horse do. This was a jock getting very aggressive, trying to come through a hole, and then having the hole completely close on him. I know some people have talked about, there's been a debate, should journalism have been disqualified? Absolutely not. Number one, the one caused more of this coming in than journalism did. Number two, the 1 and the 8 were dead. They were done. So the fact that journalism went by them, they weren't horses that were going to do anything in that race anyway. So to me, he got squeezed off and somehow got through that, which if you look at it, you don't know how he gets through it, and then made a great run. Now, he didn't beat anything, but he still made a great surge. This is a very good horse. I would doubt with that race, the Derby race and then that race, I would doubt he would run in the Belmont. I will be stunned if he runs in the Belmont. I would think they'll probably give him some time off, take him back to California, and bring him back for the Travers. They'll get money from Monmouth to go to the Haskell. Hopefully they'll turn that down and come to the Travers. I would look for him to run Travers, maybe one other stake, and then Breeders' Cup Classic. It's a legit. I would love to see him run against Sovereignty again. I think asking him to run for the third time in 5 weeks after that trip and that tough race he had against the fresh Sovereignty is really unfair. So I would think that won't happen. I think Sovereignty and Baeza will have a pretty good battle. Baeza still could be as good as either one of the other two. Journalism is legitimate. He was a great price at even money. He should have been like 3 to 5. And he made an incredibly valiant run to win that race. Scotty Scheffler winning the PGA. People were actually, and it just shows you how silly things are sometimes. I actually saw commentary this week, which was, oh, Rory's got his Grand Slam now. It only took Rory 11 years to get his Grand Slam. Okay, 11 years after he had the first 3. Now, Scotty had won 2 Masters. He has been on an incredible run for the last 3 years. He has completely dominated the sport. They were like, well, he needs to win another major. Huh? He's 28 years old. He won the Masters twice in 3 years, and now he has to win another major. Well, you know what? He answered that in a hurry, didn't he? With a easy win. Now, it wasn't an easy win all day, because if you watch today, Scotty, after really hitting every fairway yesterday, could not find a fairway in the first 9 holes today, and everything was left. He had the lefts all day. He played 2 over par on his front 9. It could have been worse. And now Rahm, who gets hot, and when Rahm gets hot, he's as good as anybody in the world. Rahm gets hot, and now he catches him at 9 under. Scotty goes from 11 to 9. Rahm goes up to 9. And Rahm's a couple of holes ahead of him. And Rahm has birdie putts that he can make on 14 and 15, and he doesn't make either one. And then Rahm throws away his second place finish with both hands as he puts the ball in the water on both 17 and 18 and goes bogey, double bogey on the last 3 holes. So that was the end of that. You could tell Scheffler wanted this very badly. You actually saw, some demonstration out of him after he won, which is very rare. This player now is starting to put together an incredible resume at the age of 28. He is dominating the sport. So Rory got his Masters, and everyone said, "Oh, whoa, Scotty better watch it." Well, Scotty better watch it. He turned around and won the Byron Nelson, and he turned around and won the PGA. So Scotty doesn't have to watch anything. Would it be great to have DeChambeau and Rory and Scotty and a couple other guys get it going in the U.S. Open? Yeah, it would. That would be great. This guy is going to win a bunch more tournaments, and he's going to win a bunch more majors. That's just the way it is. He's that good. He's that good. And when he had to self-correct out there today, he did. He hit the fairway on 10. He hit the fairway on 11. He split the fairway. He hit the par threes. He split the fairway. And next thing you know, he's back up 5 going to 16. And then he played very carefully around those water holes, 16, 17, 18. He played very carefully and coasted to a 5 shot win. And realize he's the first PGA player since Seve Ballesteros in 1983 to win his first 3 majors by at least 3 strokes each time. Nobody had done that except Seve, or since Seve. That's a lot. He is putting together, and I understand you call him the robot. He doesn't have a lot of personality. He doesn't look for the limelight. He is a very religious man, which some people might not take to. Who knows? He's a very religious man. He's very much a family man. He's very much a private guy. He's never going to be Mr. Excitement, okay, or Mr. Headline. That's not who he is. But he's going to give you great play on the golf course, and that's got to be enough. And he can put it into gear. He lifted his game. And when Rahm came and knocked on the door, and even had the announcer saying the advantage is now Rahm because of the body language. Scotty's struggling, and Rahm is coming like a freight train. They were right. He was. It didn't bother Scotty one bit. You're watching you've been waiting for another golfer to come along. I think Oberg has a chance to be really good. But this guy, whether you like his personality or not, or want someone with a little more flamboyance, you have DeChambeau for that. DeChambeau is fun to watch. He's got a great personality. He plays to the crowd tremendously, and he's a very good golfer. He just has to do a little better with his distance control. He has a little bit of a problem with that. But whether you like Scotty or not, the bottom line is he is dominating this sport right now. Someone compared him to Pete Sampras today. That might be true. Pete was never Mr. Excitement. That might be how he does it. But this guy is really, really special. And now he's got his 3rd major. And if you go back and look over the last 3 years, he has completely brought golf to its knees. And I think you're going to get more. I wouldn't even be surprised if he got another major this year. I don't know about the British. I haven't really zeroed in on Scotty I'm sure he could play anywhere, but I haven't really zeroed in on him as far as playing those kind of courses. But U.S. Open, this game is made to order. We know that. Hey, he can win any tournament he's in. Rory was favored because it was Quail Hollow. Rory didn't play well. and he hid from the media, which some people didn't like this week. I don't know why that is. I don't know if it was about the driver. There's a lot of stuff going on with the drivers right now, whatever it was. But you saw a brilliant performance from Scotty Scheffler and a tremendous performance from journalism, who did a great job, really did. Like I said, I would love to see them tangle again in the Belmont. Journalism, Sovereignty, Baeza. I just can't see journalism going to the race. This was a rough race. This was a really hard race. If he runs 3 times in 5 weeks again, I think you probably want to meet Sovereignty off a a nice respite. See him in the Travers, or see him again in the Breeders' Cup Classic. We'll see how that works out, if they can both stay healthy. So Minnesota and Oak City start on Tuesday night. The Knicks begin on Wednesday night. So as we head into this Memorial Day weekend, there's going to be a lot of excitement around here. I just want to say one thing, though. I think it's great. I went to Game 5. No, Game 4. I keep saying Game 5, but Game 4. Game 5 was up there. I went to Game 4. And coming out, you come out of 4 Penn, there's always a lot of, people looking to take pictures, a lot of people looking to get autographs, because the celebrities all come out of Game. The movie stars and actors and everybody, the ex-players, they all come out of 4 Penn. And you move into the street. And I was getting picked up on 31st and 7th for a ride home, and so I had to walk down the block, and it was packed, and it was a scene. And obviously, it's become that was as they're outside watching the games. And I think that's great, that stuff. But here's the deal: what I've always appreciated about New York is we don't need to wreck the town to celebrate a championship. A lot of these towns, you see them win a championship and they burn their town down. They're burning cars. They're turning cars over. They're breaking windows. Why? It's supposed to be a happy time. Why are you causing mayhem? Or is it just to have a right to cause mayhem when there's that kind of event going on? We saw a little of that after the Knicks Celtics series. Hey, New York's got to be better than that. We've always been more sophisticated than that. That's one of the things I've always appreciated, is we haven't acted that way. I was in Vancouver when Vancouver won Game 6. Dog and I went to Vancouver when the Rangers had to go back after losing Game 5, had to go back to Vancouver. We went back to Vancouver, and then we went to Houston for Game 6. We actually left Vancouver and hightailed it right to Houston for Game 6 on Sunday night. The game that the Knicks should have won, and we would have won a championship. Now, coming out of that building that night in Vancouver, they were going absolutely crazy. They were rocking cars. They were throwing things. I'm like, what the heck is going on here? And that's one thing I've always appreciated about our town. You watch these towns across the country, and they don't know how to act when they win. And then the other night, I saw a thing on the news about how they had problems in our city after a second round win. It wasn't a championship victory. It's a second round. I understand it was the Celtics. I understand it's been a long time since they've been this deep in the playoffs. But hey, the second round, and you want to turn the city upside down? The city's got enough problems. Doesn't need this. Have fun. But there's no reason to destroy the place. I just don't get it. I've never understood that. That's one thing that I've watched with all these celebrations through the years with other cities and everything, and I've always appreciated that we don't do that stuff. The Yankees win championships. Hey, seen the Giants pull off great upsets and win Super Bowls. Nothing like that. The Knicks haven't won in a long time. I'm actually old enough to have remembered both of their championships in a different era. Okay, when I tell you that Game 7 against the Lakers in 69, 70 was not live. It was not on TV till 11:30. You had to listen to the game on the radio. It's a different world, different era. I mean, the NBA went through many years when it wasn't even on live TV in prime time. So that changed with Bird and Magic and Michael. That changed everything. And David Stern. That's a long time ago. I saw the Knicks win twice. I went to every game, every Knick playoff game. I missed one road game in 94. I was at every home game because I did play-by-play afterwards for Knick and Ranger games. I had 25 home games between the Knicks and Rangers. There were 49 playoff games between the Knicks and Rangers that year. 25 were at home, 24 on the road. And I went to almost every game on the road. We actually had to split up, and Dog went with the Rangers and I went with the Knicks at one point because we couldn't do both. And Dog, went with the Rangers and I went with the Knicks, which was nice because that's just because I had to get back to do the play-by-play. So that was fine. But I went to Vancouver twice that year. We were in Houston. As a matter of fact, we had to stay in Houston 3 extra days from Sunday night all the way to Wednesday for Game 7. And Houston was like 1,000 degrees those days. So I've seen the Knicks come this close. Now, San Antonio series, when they got to the finals that year, they were not winning. We know that. They had no chance against that team. They were not beating that Spur team. They weren't going to come close. We know that. They got to the finals, which was a great run, but they weren't going to win it. So I've seen them go to the finals a couple of times. As a young man, I saw them win championships with the great Knick teams. And you even saw a couple of those guys. You see Frazier, obviously, still at the games all the time. You've seen Bill Bradley in the stands. The great Bill Bradley, who, if you've never looked at Bill Bradley's basketball career, forget his political career. Look at his basketball career and realize how special he was as a basketball player. The Knick team was one of the most unique teams of all time, the 69-70 team. And the second one was a different team, but still a very interesting team. Had a couple different pieces, but it was still a very interesting team. And they won 2 championships, which were really special. Now, no one knew it was never going to happen again. Maybe this year now. I mean, now you have an avenue for that. One step at a time. One step at a time. This Indiana series won't be easy. They have depth, and they will play. They're very well coached. They have depth, versatile depth, scoring depth, and they will make the Knicks use their bench because otherwise the Knicks starters will get worn down in this series by the Pacers because that's going to be what they're going to try and do. They're going to try and present a relentless pace because of their depth. They're going to push and push and push and push, and they can make a lot of threes, as you know. So they're a good team. Don't treat, I've heard a lot of, well, the Knicks were so banged up that it's not a fair look. Hey, don't sell that Indiana team short. They are good. They are dangerous. They are very well coached by Rick Carlisle, who I've known forever. A very good basketball man. Treat them as a very, very respected adversary because they are. It should be a terrific series. And then there'll be if the Knicks win that, I think there'll be an even better team waiting in Oklahoma City. I know people want Minnesota. I don't think it's going to happen. They got a puncher's chance, but I don't think it's going to happen. I think I think Oklahoma City would win. I think Denver was the best thing that could happen to Oklahoma City because they were made to grow up a little in this series, and that was a positive. They faced a little adversity, which was good for them because they needed to grow up, and I think that helped them a little bit. So a lot going on. We'll get to that. We'll preview the Knicks on Tuesday, and then obviously we got a busy week coming up as we head towards the Memorial Day weekend. We'll see you.